The day is finally here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are breaking down, discussing, dissecting the brand new official trailer for Halloween Ends. All right, let's dive in. All right, so of course I got to stop right here. Um, and again, the volume for you guys is going to be turned down a little bit. You've watched the trailer hopefully numerous times by now. Um, and like I said, I'm going to give my take. You guys chime in as we go along. Immediately, the very first sound we hear, the very first words of dialogue in this trailer are the words trick or treat. And again, yeah, we are Halloween daily news. Halloween is our life here. So for me to hear that, I can't think of a better way to open the trailer. And meanwhile, our very first image, it is presumably a random street in Haddonfield. I'm guessing Haddonfield. I'm going to assume Haddonfield for now until we know differently. Halloween night, kids and families out trick-or-treating, decorations in the lawn. It doesn't look, I noticed this, that it doesn't look overly decorated or packed with kids. If you compare it to the trick-or-treating scene in Halloween 2018, I would guess, and this is just me reading into it, maybe too much, but you guys tell me what you think. Maybe that's a creative decision to have it a little less jam-packed this Halloween because, after all, what this community has gone through on October 31st, 4 years ago. Also really interesting that right there in the foreground, we see somebody wearing a pirate costume. Pirate costumes very recurring in the Halloween franchise. Of course, a lot of people remember the original little boy dressed as the pirate getting taken into Haddonfield Memorial Hospital in Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2. And of course, he was kind of paid homage to in that great scene in the 2018 Halloween film. And then one of the Johns was dressed as a pirate in HK as well. So, the pirate costume never gets old in Haddonfield, I guess. You can never go wrong selling that in Haddonfield. That's your local costume shop. That's our first image, and that's our first bit of audio. So far, so good, if you ask me. And it does look like Haddonfield, just a much emptier Haddonfield than when we saw it in 2018. So we get a bit of breathing right there. Nick Castle, of course, once again performing the breathing for Michael. And then we get a shot of this house. And hopefully you guys, regular viewers of the Halloween Daily News channel, readers of our website, HalloweenDailyNews.com, hopefully you all remember and recognize this house, this red house. You should recognize it because we were there. We were there back in January when they were filming in Savannah. If you haven't seen it, look it up here on our channel. Look up Savannah, look up Halloween Ends filming locations. And also right there when we get that shot, you get a lot of things at once in the audio. You get just a little bit of Michael breathing. Presumably Michael breathing, right? The shape breathing. And just as we get a shot of that house, we get just a little bit of that iconic Halloween theme, just for a second there, because we don't get a ton of John Carpenter's new score in this trailer. That's a whole conversation in itself, as it always should be. But we do get little bits and pieces of it here. And so here we see the house significantly more decorated than when we were there. They've got the jack-o'-lantern lights and some spider webs and everything. And then there's that neighboring house, which we also got some footage of when we were there. And and it's got some holiday lighting going on as well. And we hear the breathing. Just a little bit of soundtrack music there, just real slight, nothing too crazy. And already these scenes, the first time I'm watching them, I'm feeling like, well, this is a little bit of the, again, the 2018 trick or treating scene, Michael's return, but it's really kind of more of throwback to '78, right? That very first POV shot that opens the film in some ways. Another little hint of Carpenter's theme there, and I like seeing some pumpkins there in the room. So now here comes one of the key moments in this trailer that everybody's talking about. Here we get what looks like the shape, and yes, many of you have already commented in the live chat, and many of you have commented on our social media posts that it appears in this shot that maybe Michael Myers has all five fingers again. That looks like his left hand opening the door, and it looks like five fingers, no bandage, no missing digits. And we'll see that familiar faces in here waiting for him. All right, and then we cut to that. But let's just go back here for just a minute because I've got a few thoughts on this, and I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end, like I said, when we get more into the discussion portion of this event. But well, first of all, there's a couple different possibilities here that I thought of. Number one, the obvious assumption is this is not Michael Myers. Okay, this is somebody else in a Michael Myers outfit. Now, reading that synopsis, we could jump right to, okay, this is this guy Corey, whatever, all that. Let's not even go there quite yet. Let's look at the idea that this could be anybody. First of all, maybe this is somebody playing a prank on crazy old Laurie Strode. Yeah, I know that would be messed up. That would be incredibly messed up, but we live in a messed up world. This could also be some kind of fantasy sequence for Laurie Strode. Why in her fantasy would he have all of his fingers back? Who knows? Or maybe it's a nightmare sequence where he comes in, she shoots him, and she shoots the wrong person, and then that's her nightmare or something. My point is, there's tons of possible explanations, but if we're going to go with the idea that maybe there's some kind of copycat or mistaken, someone in a Michael costume who's not Michael, or somebody purposely trying to be mistaken for Michael who's not Michael, I would argue that none of this is entirely new for this franchise. And I'm going to go back and talk more about that after the trailer. But all that being said, pretty safe to assume that whoever it was opening that door, suspiciously not Michael. Now, I have to believe, and this, again, we all saw the Halloween Kills trailers, the marketing. They did have some pretty spoilery stuff in there, as it turns out. I have to believe that Universal has what they have in this trailer for specific reasons. I cannot believe, I'm gonna choose not to believe that there are mistakenly spoilerific details exposed in here. I am proceeding enjoying this marketing and enjoying these breadcrumbs, and I think they want us to notice this, because if not, then why in the trailer the way they do with the close-up shot of that same hand the way they do? I think this is very intentional, as you guys have said. Possibly with the breathing, I didn't notice a huge difference. I'll go back and listen even closer, but whatever differences are here, I do think that's intentional, and I'm going to choose to believe at this point that it's very intentional to have this in this marketing, maybe even to misdirect us in ways that you're not thinking it's meant to misdirect us. Again, I'll talk more about all of this at the end, but let's proceed. So here's our first look at Jamie Lee Curtis once again playing Laurie Strode. This is, believe it or not, the 7th film in which Jamie Lee Curtis has portrayed Laurie Strode. It's the 9th film total where the character Laurie Strode has faced off against the character of Michael Myers. Reading that synopsis, it says she's been more or less trying to live her best life and move on from Michael. You know, when we saw that set photo, it did kind of reflect that, now that, you know, in retrospect. And even this shot, while she's ready and determined and means business, I mean, yeah, her hair looks a lot nicer than it did when we first saw her in 2018. I mean, she's even got a jack-o'-lantern, and it's kind of smiling, half smile anyway. So she's somewhat in the Halloween spirit, even, maybe, kind of. And one more off-the-wall possibility, I thought, is maybe it's not somebody pranking crazy old Laurie Strode, because Lord knows she's been through enough. And even high school jokers should know that she's been through enough. But maybe it is some high school asshole pranking somebody else, you know? Or maybe it's one of Allison's, you know, crazy ex-boyfriends or something. You know, maybe she's been spiraling for a couple of years and hanging out with the wrong crowd and one of these guys. My point is, maybe this is Laurie coming in knowing that this is not Michael Myers, but whoever it is, let's go. You're done. Just my takes and my thoughts on this particular sequence. And just one more quick thought, just because of the cinematography here, I love the imagery. I mean, this still says a lot about this movie. It says a lot about all 3 of these most recent movies, and arguably it says a lot about the entire franchise. It says a lot about the character of Laurie Strode. It says a lot about Jamie Lee Curtis herself. I think this image will be one of those images, you know, kind of like Michael standing on the porch as Laurie's house is up in flames from the last film. I think this is going to be one of those images, you know, just as a still image alone that will immediately, you know, scream not only Halloween Ends, but David Gordon Green's Halloween films in the future. All right, let's move on, Loba. And now here, the lighting's darker. Everything's more violent. And it's much more the James Jude Courtney Michael that we recognize from the last 2 films. So, and again, this is just, you know, some immediate impressions on here, but if we're meant to think that's somebody else trying to be Michael or be a new Michael, mimic Michael, copycat Michael. As far as this trailer, they definitely want to remind us that, oh, don't worry, the one you know and love, yeah, he's still here. He's still coming home this year. And they don't call her the Scream Queen for nothing. Um, Here we get quite a bit of screams. There's Jamie doing what put her on the map, right? And here we get an assortment of some new faces. Faces that I don't recognize, faces of cast members that we have not met yet, that have not even been officially announced yet. And they're all seen very briefly, also screaming in complete terror. This is an especially good scream shot. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is our young Corey Cunningham. Of course, this would suggest that he is going to have an encounter with Michael, it appears, at some point. Whoever it is, he's having an encounter with somebody in what looks like an underground sewer. I don't know. Could this be the cave of the working title of the film? That it was Cave Dweller was the working title of the film? Could this be why that was for some reason? And here we have another new character from what I can tell. You guys tell me, who is this we're looking at? I know who is coming through the back door. And again, I mean, I have spoken often about the cinematography of these recent films and how Michael Simmons, as director of photography for David Gordon Green, they have really tapped into what I think Dean Cundey, as director of photography, did with John Carpenter and the original Halloween and Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 and so many of Carpenter's most beloved films. And this is a prime example of that, where, you know, just a classic Halloween Michael Myers shot. You know, somebody in distress on the phone. I heard something outside. You know, classically looking the wrong way from where the shape is actually coming. And here he comes, silently stalking. I mean, look at that shot. I love it. That is Halloween 101 right there. That is a beautiful shot. There he comes into focus just a little bit more. And then they're teasing again, their saga is going to come to an end. And I love this. We get some of those quick flashback scenes. I was really honestly expecting most of this trailer to be flashback scenes to the previous films. I would have been fine with that. I'm kind of glad they did include some of these because they say their saga. And then they just very quickly, very effortlessly remind us that this has been going on for now 44, basically 45 years. And we get this great shot. That is Nick Castle in The Mask in the 78 film. And of course, Jamie Lee Curtis, the first time she played Laurie Strode in Carpenter's original. This is their confrontation in 2018. And of course, we fans know we're glossing over some other memorable confrontations in Halloween 2 in 1981, and Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection, and, you know, not to mention the two Rob Zombie films as well. Again, another throwback. There's Tony Moran in his scene as unmasked Michael. She's about to take that mask off. Flashing to another shot. Last year's Halloween Kills. Let It Burn. And of course, this now truly iconic shot of the shape emerging from the depths of hell to wreak holy havoc. God, that scene is so powerful in HK. I love it. So I'm glad they included it here. Again, intercut with some of these iconic moments that have been with us for 44 years now. I mean, Laurie, she was the first one to really notice what is going on, no, she knew that wasn't Devin Graham. She knew there was something weird. She knew there was somebody out there in the clotheslines, somebody out there outside the school staring in that didn't feel right. She's always known. And here we go. Their saga ends. And again, I do like that on that poster and in the banners that are on social media now, it's the word ends that they're selling this movie. That title ends. Not even Halloween it, but just ends, as in plural, multiple ends. Yeah, I just like that. And here we go. And there's really our first and only real look at Allison in this trailer, right? I mean, am I missing something? Did I overlook something from earlier? We get next to nothing of Andy Matichak reprising her role as Allison. And yeah, I'm gonna have to pull up some of my Savannah footage because yeah, that intersection, I'm pretty sure we were there as well. Tiny bit of halosphere in the background. I do think it's noticeably decorated for Halloween, but consciously less Halloween spirit than in 2018, and for all the reasons that we all agree make sense. And I loved seeing this. We talked a few weeks ago on Michael Myers Monday Live um, about the about the fact about the fact that Will Patton had not been officially announced as returning as Frank Hawkins, a character who I've really come to love in the last two films. And we all pretty much assumed he was done after his encounter with Sartain in 2018, but he survived. He had some memorable lines in HK, and great to see him back in this scene. That kind of got me a little bit excited when we're getting those quick flashes of Laurie and her history with Michael, and then Allison to at least get a little bit of Officer Hawkins here. Maybe he's retired, but obviously, when something like this hits the news or hits the airwaves, I can imagine him sitting at home, kind of like Loomis in The Curse of Michael Myers. Even though he's long since retired, still gonna have that police scanner on every night, especially in October. Are you kidding me? I did love seeing him running up to the scene here like this, and I think that's going to be real emotional. His re-encounter, his reunion with Michael Myers, now that HK has deepened his relationship with this character and with this whole current mythology, so much more than 2018. Now Frank Hawkins is so tied to this imagining, this iteration of Michael Myers, so much more than he was prior to the events of HK and the information that we learned in that film. And that looks like the character that we saw earlier that Michael was stalking. And yeah, I mean, that to me, you guys were all pretty sure that looked like Michael, the real Michael, doing that kind of stalking. And I have to agree. This to me, this feels like our current Michael Myers, which after Halloween Kills, I have been calling the ultimate Michael Myers. All right, let me go back here though, because this shot right here, oh my god! When I saw this one, this was like, okay, that's my new cover photo. That is like, I am loving this image of Michael right here. Just the hair, the again the lighting, This is like some classic Michael, circa H2, circa 78. Um, this looks awesome to me. What do you guys think? It's very reminiscent of Allison's scream at the bottom of the stairs in uh, the Myers house in HK, if you ask me. And again, I mean, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride said in promoting 2018 that originally they didn't even know that they were going to be able to have Jamie Lee Curtis in their film. And once they realized that it was even a possibility that she was even going to consider it, they took it on them to write a script that she couldn't say no for. And I think they succeeded, and they made my favorite version of Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018. I mean, I love these films, and Laurie's always been, the quintessential survivor girl, final girl, right? But for me personally, I mean, my favorite version of her wasn't 2018, still isn't 2018, and this is that Laurie Strode now. Not the Laurie Strode we see earlier, that confident, together, like, all right, let's go. Like I almost feel like that scene. I'll talk about it in a minute. What I think is happening in that opening scene, but love this image of badass, pissed off Laurie Strode. And again, I could go on and on and on about the framing, the cinematography, the colors, even. I mean, we got those nice, cool autumn blues that this franchise is so familiar with. I mean, it's just all there. And she's got this great line. And, I mean, the fact that they have her saying, "Come and get me, motherfucker," right here in the trailer. I mean, obviously, they'll cut that last word out in the theatrical cut of the trailer, I imagine, unless they're gonna only play it red band and with rated R movies, maybe, I don't know. But when you guys go see Note this weekend, tell me and tell me what you think. Tell me if they left it in or if there is any differences. But we love that line, and again, this, I think, it's no doubt. This is our Michael Myers. This is our ultimate Michael Myers. I mean, there might be somebody else going around Haddonfield dressing up like Michael Myers, pretending to be Michael Myers in this film. This trailer is certainly laying the groundwork for that. That synopsis lays some groundwork for that. Whether it's this kid Corey or whether this kid Corey is telling the truth and he's innocent and it's somebody else, I think it's evident that no matter what's going on, the real deal is coming home again this year. And it will be the real deal that has this much hyped, much anticipated showdown with Laurie Strode. And yes, they may not be brother and sister in this version of the story, but they are arch enemies. They are good and evil. They are the light and the dark in this Halloween universe. And this shot, again, I mean, you just can't beat it. It's like something out of the original Halloween, honestly. And there, yeah, we could compare the audio of this moment of breathing as opposed to those moments earlier, and I'm sure you guys are probably correct that we would find slight difference in the breathing. And here we have this intense battle scene. I think this is very much what they did show during the CinemaCon event earlier this year. And because we had got reports that there was a little bit of a fighting of Michael and Laurie in a kitchen. She grabs the knife, and Yeah, I mean, look at what she's wearing here. You guys talk about, wearing what she was wearing from the original. I mean, that looks like almost the exact blue button-up shirt that she had on in the original, right, guys? I mean, it's like, I mean, I know it's not literally the same one and not meant to be, but I mean, it's that same color. I mean, this is not on accident. Now, there's no doubt that that is our Michael Myers having his already burned, charred hand with two missing fingers blown off. Yeah, now he's got a big old butcher knife stabbed through the middle of it. That's our Michael, all right. So again, if there's any doubt that the real deal is not in this movie or not going to be dominating, kicking ass, doing his thing throughout this movie, I think, as you guys have pointed out, I think the trailer, I definitely think the trailer lays some fans' fears to rest. But you know who you'd never heard reporting on certain crazy ideas like Michael Myers isn't going to be in the movie, or he's only barely going to be in, or whatever. You know, it's all a dream, or all these crazy headlines that I've seen over the last year. Yeah, you know what channel never got caught up in any of that BS, right? Yeah, yeah, the one you're watching now. That's right. Anyway, tell me what you think about this confrontation in the kitchen, this hand stab. And this is what I was talking about when they very intentionally, I feel, very intentionally had Michael's left hand. I mean, he could have opened that door any way, like you guys said. He could have just busted through the door. You know, they let that hand be shown in frame, and then they purposefully end the trailer with this shot. You know, I think it doesn't take a genius to say that they're leaving us these breadcrumbs and letting us, see that, yeah, there's going to be somebody else running around at some point in this film dressed up like Michael Myers, whether they're going to be actually a copycat killer, like actually stalking people, actually trying to kill, or maybe just pranking. And then we get our title treatment, which is exactly remnant of the previous two films, in theaters October 14th. And we will be there, as I know you all will too. All right. Give me your thoughts now on this epic trailer. I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you for watching.